Fashion.
Fashion. Fashion. Fashion.
Fashion.
Fashion. Fashion. Fashion.
Fashion. Fashion.
People use fashion as a way to paint the town with their creativity. And no matter how small the effort is, people can always feel it. And those people may just be your community. Community is built through numerous means, through the places we go, the things we believe in, and even how we dress. Being in your 20s, community is one of the biggest things that people hope to find. Moving into your first experiences with independence and freedom could also mean feeling a little lonely and isolated. But that doesn't have to be the case. Finding community in your 20s can be as simple as trying a new hobby, joining a dance class, or even choosing how you style your hair. I'm Kamogelo Kungwane, and in this episode, I'll look at how to find your style in your 20s, and how people in their 20s use fashion to find their communities. To me, fashion is the perfect way to speak your mind. I had never really taken an interest in it, but over the past few years, I've come to love it as an art, and as a way to help me navigate the world. When I go out, I love to see the different ways that clothing is worn and how people look and act in their outfits. I love using my nails to express a change in seasons or styling my hair for special occasions. As someone who gets bored all the time, I love that even when things are constant, clothing doesn't have to be. I can wake up and dress one way today and another tomorrow, and each of them would always reflect the me of that day.
Fashion gives you a sense of belonging. Fashion gives me a sense of belonging. Fashion can enhance which character you're wanting to play for the day, in the sense that if I am going to the office, I am going to want to look mature, I'm going to want to look older, I'm going to want to look more authoritative, and I'm going to want to take it seriously. I am not going to be wearing cargo pants to the office. I am not going to be wearing a crop top to a meeting. That's not going to happen. Fashion enhances the person that you want to be. Fashion brings out expression of your personality. People will look at the way you dress and the way you present yourselves through your clothes first. Appearance matters.
As Kopano mentioned, fashion can help to create a sense of belonging and a sense of self. The way people dress helps to convey how they feel, what they think, and how they identify. Fashion is more of an art than it is an act. It is the art of expression, and expression is the gateway to creating identity. The way people dress tells a story of more than just clothing, but about the way their mind works and how they see themselves in relation to the world. Fashion and styling leave an impression on everyone, whether we think so or not. The way people dress gives us an idea of who they are and whether or not we'd be compatible with them. Kopano's mention of how she would dress in the office is a perfect example of how fashion is looked at in different social contexts. The blazer and pencil skirt tell a different story in a meeting than they would at a bar, and each time they would attract completely new people. In modern times, with apps like TikTok and Pinterest gaining more and more interest, people have more access to different styles and aesthetics, opening the doors to more opportunities for finding their own style. Mixing and matching different aesthetics allows people to find a style that best reflects their own. Or committing to one specific aesthetic may help people identify themselves and make them more noticeable to other people who match them. A perfect way to find their community. There are all kinds of different ways to dress, and each of them sends a different message. No two people will ever truly dress the same, even when they wear the exact same outfit. Certain trends and styles can be identifiers that bond certain people together, even when they apply their own twist to each trend.
Typically, I personally use fashion as a sense of, I and a lot of people I know use fashion as a sense of being comfortable with who you are. So dressing how you feel on the inside and having that reflect and show on the outside. And I know that a lot of people around me also who are queer dress in a way that could be seen as queer because one, it'd be easy to identify between one another, to be like, oh, you're part of my community. And so that forms like a sense of trust between us. And for myself, I also like to use fashion as a sense of like, I dress for the type of life that I want. And I know my sister does this too, where she'll have days where she dresses like the rich aunt, or she'll dress like a superstar. And it's because these are the things that she wants to like acquire in the near future. And so I do the same thing, where I dress some days I'll dress like, like a frazzled artist or something. And so, because I identify as an artist, and so I want that to kind of be seen through how I dress and how I show up in the world.
Khensani is an artist who varies her style all the time. Her identity as a queer person can sometimes influence the way she dresses. Having a style that is notable to people within the queer community can help people identify with each other and feel safe, without ever having to say a word. In an article by the Sartorial magazine, Cameron Mankin expressed how queer people have historically used fashion as a means to identify one another without any blatant mentions of their queerness. Mankin cited common fashion trends that people within the LGBTQ+ community would use to note themselves as members of the community. Like how in America in the 1920s, when women started to dress more masculinely, lesbian women started wearing outfits with trousers, and this became an identifier for lesbian women at the time, even though the style was not exclusively theirs. This is just one of the many ways that people have used fashion to make a community for themselves.
Fashion is a very important part of community because it shows our diversity, it shows our heritage, it shows our innovation, our evolving as a people, as a society. It also allows people to express themselves and their self-worth. So fashion to me is definitely more than just clothing. It's people telling a story, people carrying who they are and making you aware of who they are without having to say a single word. It is a very large part of our self-identity, and it's so powerful that a piece of clothing can give an impression on someone, like a very lasting impression on someone. So definitely fashion is very important in the community, and like building communities and preserving our diversity as people.
In a South African context, fashion is an important marker of people's culture, and it tells even more of a story of their identity. Despite the clear Western influence on many choices of clothing and many styles in South Africa, there are still many uniquely South African ways that everyday items have transformed to tell different stories and bond people together. Due to South Africa's history of division, much of the style differs from place to place and from community to community. An example is Banzula dancers, who often have a very similar dressing style, which is lace-up oxfords, plaid trousers, an argyle sweater, and a newsboy cap. This style has been symbolic of dancers of this prolific South African style for years, and it has easily become an identifiable community within South African townships and cultures at large. Like Oratilwe stated, fashion is important because it encourages diversity, and it acts as a fundamental building block in shaping and founding communities. You can learn so much about others through the way they dress, and you can learn so much about yourself based on the way you dress, and the trends you follow, and even the trends that you may start.
For me, fashion, obviously it's a way of expressing. I mean, there's various ways in which you can express yourself by simply wearing an outfit or going above. I don't know, fashion is it's so much. It's so broad. It's just, the way it expands, it allows creativity. And in terms of my personal style, I'm not quite there where I want to be. But I know sooner my cupboard will get there. Just gotta be patient. And when I look at how they say the fashion capitals like New York, Milan, where else? Paris, I believe. And there's many more. It's just when you actually analyze and you actually look at the level of creativity, and as well as the simplicity of an outfit, how it can just be it can make everything fashion on its own, the way you dress. It's truly, truly a way of expressing yourself, down from the colors that you wear to the textures that you choose to the form of the patterns to getting an item that could perhaps complete the outfit. That's what how I view fashion.
Fashion is an expressive and expansive field that offers people so many opportunities to be unique and to find themselves. Like Hope said, looking for your own sense of style and trying to get to a level where you feel like it truly encapsulates your personality is a journey. People don't just find their personal styles overnight. but in understanding who and what they are and what they stand for, they're able to infuse those elements into their outfit choices. Fashion is different colors, textures, and patterns, along with so much more. So finding your own versions of that should be interesting and fun. That brings us to how exactly to find our style, to find these communities. In order to find yourself, looking into self-concept is a great way to start. Self-concept essentially refers to how we view ourselves. Answering all the burning questions about how we feel about ourselves, what we like or dislike, and our goals will likely help to fill in the blanks. When you have a big, bright picture of who and what you want to be, dressing this character will become infinitely easier. For example, knowing that you like the color black, heavy makeup, and rock music kind of puts you in the realm of goth fashion. Embrace that and find your lane in it. Dressing in line with those interests will send a message to people around you about the type of person you are, and it'll likely attract more people with a similar vibe. And there is your community. In true Gen Z fashion, as I mentioned before, social media apps like Pinterest and TikTok are great tools for finding your sense of style and the aesthetics that match those interests. Open Pinterest and search up one of your interests and draw some inspiration from the images you see, the colors, the textures, and everything in between. Styling your outfits in a way that you like to see other people style theirs is a great way to learn the fundamentals of the style you're seeking to emulate. You don't have to copy them exactly, and you shouldn't, but drawing inspiration from them can help you find your own style. Another way that you can try is to look at your favorite outfits, designers, and styles and highlight exactly what makes you like them. Noting what you like about each style is a great way to find unique elements and blend them together to find something that is uniquely yours. This is perfect if you're looking to try something completely new, but all the elements that you combined could still help you find some people who have the same interests, or even just people who like the vibe of eccentric people. And finally, another cool effort to find your style, and maybe even some friends, is to accessorize. Starting small and incorporating your favorite band's t-shirt or your favorite football team's cap is a great and not so subtle way of finding people who match your energy. This is a perfect conversation starter and a great way to find a community of people that you can relate with. In my personal experience as a BTS fan, wearing something with the color purple or even a phone case that showcased the band logo would always draw the attention of other fans, and it's made me a few friends too. The same can be said about sports, anime, and anything else. Feeling free to wear what you like and express yourself the way you'd like is what fashion is all about. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I hope that this was a good step towards finding your style and eventually finding your community in your 20s.